What K-pop idols really say about Jungkook will surprise you. Part 3. Most of us often call Jungkook the golden matinee of BTS, but inside the K-pop industry, idols call him something else, something they don't always say out loud. In ENHYPEN fan meetings, Heeseung has mentioned learning from Jungkook's balance between vocals and performance, while pre-debut clips show ENHYPEN growing up dancing to BTS, watching Jungkook again and again. And across survival shows, trainees simply say, "My role model is Jungkook," without needing to explain why. And maybe that's what makes this different, because when the people you admire all admire the same person, you start to realize Jungkook didn't just become famous, he became the standard. Most people think admiration in K-pop fades with time, but with Jungkook, it only spreads further across new groups, new generations, new dreams. Because what makes his influence different isn't just his success, it's how consistently idols mention him, not once, not twice, but over and over again, like a quiet pattern forming inside the industry. And once you start noticing it, you can't unsee it. For example, Hyuk from Tempest has been mentioned in fan discussions as one of the idols who looks up to Jungkook. According to interview clips, he expressed admiration for Jungkook's all-rounder ability, the way he balances vocals, dance, and stage presence, something many rookies aim for but rarely achieve at the same level, making Jungkook feel less like a goal and more like a benchmark. Then there's Brian from Ampersand1, who according to fan content and media mentions, has pointed to Jungkook as someone he respects, especially for his consistency, because in an industry where pressure never stops, maintaining that level of performance over years is something even idols quietly admire. Not just the peak moments, but the ability to never fall below expectation. For Yanwoo, admiration takes a slightly different form, often connected to presence and aura. According to fan discussions, Jungkook represents a kind of natural charisma that can't be easily explained, something that isn't only trained, but felt. And that's what makes other idols notice him even more, because some things can't be copied. In groups like Zikers, Youngjun has also been associated with mentioning Jungkook as a role model. According to interview-style content, he highlighted Jungkook's performance energy, the ability to stay powerful from beginning to end, something that requires not just skill, but endurance, discipline, and control, the kind that only comes from years of pushing limits. For Sunghan, from CIX, admiration connects more to vocals. According to fan interpretations and content, Jungkook represents stability, someone who can deliver live performances consistently, without losing control, even in difficult stages. And in an industry where live singing is constantly judged, that kind of reliability becomes something other idols respect deeply. And then there's Heeseung from ENHYPEN, often compared to Jungkook by fans. According to interviews and fan meetings, he has mentioned learning from senior artists like Jungkook, especially in terms of balance, not leaning too much into one skill, but developing everything equally, turning himself into a complete performer, not just a specialist. Interestingly, even Jaein from Boys Next Door appears again in this story, because admiration doesn't disappear after one moment, according to previous accounts. His quiet hesitation when seeing Jungkook reflects something deeper, not just respect, but the kind of influence that stays with you, even after you debut, even after you become an idol yourself. For newer idols like Dohoon from TWS, Jungkook represents something they grew up watching, according to fan discussions. He is part of the generation that learned what an idol should be by observing Jungkook, meaning the influence isn't just current, it's foundational, shaping how new idols think, train, and perform from the very beginning. In global groups like HORI7 members such as Marcus have also been connected to admiration toward Jungkook, showing that his influence isn't limited to Korea, but extends internationally, reaching trainees and idols from different countries, different cultures, all drawn to the same standard of performance and dedication. Even strong performers like Wooyoung from ATEEZ exist in the same conversation, because when artists known for powerful stage presence are mentioned alongside Jungkook, it highlights something important, that Jungkook's influence isn't about being better than others, but about setting a level that naturally becomes part of the discussion. And names like Kungmin from TWS and Chen Minwook from BAE 173 continue to appear in fan-collected clips, repeating the same pattern: admiration, respect, inspiration. And according to Survival Show, observations on JTBC, and similar programs, Jungkook remains one of the most mentioned role models, proving that his impact isn't temporary. It's something that continues to grow with every new generation. And maybe that's why, no matter how many new groups debut, no matter how fast the industry changes, one name keeps coming back: Jungkook, not just as a global star, not just as a performer, but as something deeper, something quieter. Because he didn't just build a career that fans admire, he built a standard that idols themselves look up to. And in an industry full of talent, full of competition, that kind of respect isn't given easily, it's earned slowly.